Hey guys, it's Sandro here, and today's video is a review and some testing of 4 detailing products from Leno's garage that come in their vehicle care package, including their vehicle wash, hand wax, tire and trim dressing, and a quick detailer. Now, there couldn't possibly be anyone in the entertainment or car world that doesn't know who Leno is and his passion for restoring, maintaining, and collecting cars with one of the most amazing collections on earth. And as it turns out, their Australian sales and marketing manager is based just around the corner from my shop. So a little while back, he popped in and we had a great chat while giving me a little history on how these products came to be, and then left me this vehicle care package to test out and to give him some feedback on, so I thought I'd share that information and my thoughts on these products with you guys. And just to be clear, this is in no way a sponsored or paid review, but just my initial and honest thoughts on these products, which I hope some of you find interesting and useful. Now, being that Leno is mostly known for his older classic cars, I thought my older Honda Civic would be a good choice to test out these products. And although I didn't have any of their tyre or rim cleaning chemicals, I decided to also give my wheels a clean in preparation for testing their tyre dressing. First up was the vehicle wash. And although I realise that this car isn't overly dirty, there's still quite a few advantages to testing car soaps on well-maintained vehicles, which I'll try to explain as I go. Now, as I also do like to use my car shampoos as pre-soak foams to help soften grime for safer washing results, I decided to try it in my pressure washer's foam lance. It seemed to foam extremely well, bond and cling to the surface for a decent amount of time. But most importantly, its residue also seemed to rinse off super easy. A test I like to do when testing out a new car wash soap is to use a car that I know has fantastic hydrophobic behaviour, such as my Civic. As if the soap interferes with its water behaviour, it's a great way to determine if its residue is hard to remove and lingers on the paint, as the hydrophobic behaviour will be largely affected. But in this case, it took no more than a quick pass or two of my pressure washer to rinse off its residue and reveal the paint's positive water behaviour, which is exactly what I like to see, together with the majority of the looser grime removed, which it also achieved. Next was using the vehicle wash for a physical hand wash in my bucket. Once again, the foaming ability was really impressive. It also seemed to stay that way throughout the wash, rather than going flat like many other car washes do within a few minutes. The lubrication as my mitt glided over the paint was also great and felt like it was quite a safe user experience, but with great cleaning abilities. Now, believe it or not, the vast majority of car wash detergents or soaps do contain certain polymers, conditioners and enhancers, or whatever you want to call them, even when they don't necessarily state it, like it's a wash and wax. And if your car already has a quality wax, sealant or coating, it's more than likely going to degrade or negatively affect its behavior. So another advantage of using a super hydrophobic finish when testing a car soap is that you should be able to see whether the car soap has masked its fantastic behavior with its own additives. But I was happy to see in this case that the vehicle wash did only what it was meant to do and clean the paint without imposing its own finish or water behavior on the paint and trims. So it's hard for me at this stage to point out any negatives, as it was an overall fantastic first experience with this vehicle wash. Next was trying out the hand wax. I must have used and tried well over 100 waxes in my time, and I can tell you that it's been amazing seeing them evolve from the simple all-natural tin of wax, which I was accustomed to 25 years ago, to liquid, spray, sealant infused and hybrid waxes found today. And I can honestly say that I simply can't remember having an easier, more rewarding user experience than I did with Jay Leno's hand wax. Which I need to add that it was applied in a blistering hot 42 Celsius degree day, which in itself says a lot, as it's sometimes near impossible applying any sort of paint protection product in this sort of heat. Now the wax was almost immediately hazing over due to the ambient temperature, but even if I left it on for a good 5 to 10 minutes, I was still able to wipe it down just as easy and achieve a near perfect finish with next to no effort. It felt nice, smooth, with quite a nice smell, and I just couldn't imagine anyone having any issues with it or not thoroughly enjoying its application. But beyond that, I could also see a definite improvement in the paint's gloss levels, and even when the wax brushed up against some of the rubber and plastic trims, I had no residue staining or issues with wiping it off those trims. I'm someone that really enjoys and appreciates all the amazing technology that's really propelled the detailing market over the last couple of decades. But after finishing waxing my car, the one thought that was in my head was that all paint protection products should be this easy and nice to apply.
There's no one to blame, you see. Maybe we're not meant to be. There are plenty more fish in the sea anyway. Every day's a different thing, so I'm not into wedding rings. It ain't personal, it's the way I think. Yeah. You know it, nothing lasts forever, and you know change will make it better. You know it, yeah. And nothing lasts forever. You know it, yeah.
Later in the day, I decided to try the quick detailer over the wax. Just like all the other products, it has quite a nice smell. It spreads over the panels quick and easily, and even seems to add a touch more gloss and slickness to the finish. However, I have to be honest in saying that I was struggling a little to achieve a completely streak-free and haze-free finish. Now, it's important to add that in my paint correction bay, I can see every little imperfection on the paint. So in truth, under most normal lighting, it would be harder to see the minimal haze and streaks that I was struggling to level down. But nonetheless, they were still there, and no matter how much I wiped, I just couldn't completely remove them. However, what I did discover is that if I walked away and just let the quick detailer further cure in its own accord, when I came back after 5 minutes or so, I was able to then buff it almost perfectly streak and haze free. Now in truth, if this was a wax or sealant that in many cases needs time to further flash and cure, I'd understand and accept that. But as a quick detailer with a spray and wipe application, it's a little strange or uncharacteristic of it to need a cure or flash time before buffing it down. But to be fair, it could have been the extreme heat that's made its application more difficult. And I also discovered that if I just stuck to one spray instead of 2 per panel and used less product, it helped minimize streaks. In any case, I thought it was important to share my experience with it as honestly as possible. I'll lastly add that you'll see me applying it to a test panel a little later on, where I had absolutely no issue whatsoever buffing it streak free on that bare paint. And although it does say on the bottle that it's safe to use over a freshly waxed vehicle, my guess is that if you allow the wax an extra day or 2 to fully set, it may solve the issue I was having. So my job at large when testing out these products is to figure out why some people have a fantastic and successful user experience with the very same product that some people have a bad experience with. And I just wanted to help explain that it's not always just a matter of the product being bad or good, but rather all the environmental and other variable factors that come into play. Onto the tyre and trim dressing. I'll start by saying that this dressing levels down super quick and easy, or at least did on my tyres without the need to work it for too long. I wanted to show you its finish using it straight and without wiping it down, but just giving it a half hour or so to soak into the tyre, which you'll also see that the finish turns from a high gloss to more of a satin to very slight gloss finish. But if you prefer a more matte to satin finish on your tyres, you can actually knock the gloss back by giving it a wipe down with your cloth. Or if you really want a true matte finish, my guess is that if you mix it 1-to-1 with water, that should get you there. But on the flip side of that, if you prefer a glossier finish, I did try a second coat on one tyre, which definitely increased its gloss levels. But for me personally, I'd recommend a single coat, giving it a half hour to sit, and then wiping it back with a cloth for a beautiful matte to satin finish that I personally preferred. I'll also add that I did take the car for a drive later that day and I saw no signs of tyre dressing sling, and after a few weeks the dressing is still going strong and it seems like it could last well over a month at this stage. Now as the dressing is also made for trims, I did try it on a few of my Civic's black trims. What I personally found is that it seemed to work much better on rubbers and textured plastics rather than smooth or gloss ones. And although as you can hopefully see, it did quite a fantastic job at restoring some of the slightly faded trims, it was just a little on the glossier side for my taste. So much like the tyres, unless you prefer a little gloss, I'd recommend wiping it back with a cloth, or even try mixing it 50-50 with water, which I'll try next time when I have a chance, as it seems to work well with many other dressings that I've used in the past. But in saying that, it's by no means a greasy gloss look. It's more so just a subtle shine that I'm sure some of you prefer to a more matte satin finish that I personally prefer. For some added bonus footage, I decided to quickly apply the wax and quick detailer to a black hazed up panel to allow you guys to see how well these products amplify and add gloss to the paint, as I know it's a little hard to see that in the footage on my light green Civic. And as you guys have a look, I'll just sum up this video with my conclusions. I'll start by saying that it's always a bit of a double-edged sword when anyone famous puts their name to a brand, as the person's following is always a great advantage to give the brand some immediate recognition. But on the flip side of that, it can also be seen as someone just trying to cash in on their fame and make a quick buck. From what I was told, the detailing products in this range were actually used and developed to maintain Jay Leno's private car collection by the people who care for his cars well before they were put into production and for public sale. But with all that said, it's actually the products I'm reviewing and testing here and not the backstory or any debates surrounding their origins or credibility. And it's also important to note that the ones I'm testing are just a very small part of a much larger range and collection that I haven't tried as yet. So I can't judge the entire range as a whole, but just give you my thoughts on the ones I've tried so far. I'll start with the hand wax, as this was by far my favourite one of the four. All in all, I don't use car waxes anywhere near as much as I used to 10 to 20 years ago. But when I do use a wax these days, I'm really not interested in how well it performs in relation to hydrophobic behaviour, durability or chemical resistance. As if I'm after those qualities, I'll simply use a sealant, coating or at least a hybrid wax, which will always outperform a natural wax in those areas. What I am interested in when I pick up a wax is having a rewarding user experience, in that it's really nice and easy to apply, looks great, feels great, and even smells great. So I just want to enjoy using it and let my mind drift and emotionally connect with the car I'm applying it to. Jay Leno's hand wax ticks all those boxes, and it was just so nice using it in comparison to all the sticky sealants, coatings, and even some other hybrid waxes that I'm more accustomed to testing and applying these days. My second favourite was a vehicle wash. I loved its fantastic cherry smell. It foamed well, had great lubrication, but most important to me, its residue rinsed off super easy, and it left no interfering waxes, polymers or enhancers that messed with my car's paint protection in place. So overall, I'd be quite happy using it as a general maintenance car wash. Thirdly was the tyre and trim dressing. By all accounts, it's nice and easy to apply, has an immediate impact in enriching the finish of both tyres and trims, and at least at this stage it seems to last after several maintenance washes. Look and finish is always a more subjective thing, especially when it comes to dressings, and I'd personally prefer a little less shine, but as mentioned, it's in no way a super glossy dressing, and you should be able to knock it back further by just tweaking your application method. Lastly was the quick detailer. As you would have hopefully seen, it adds a surprising amount of gloss to the paint, almost on par with the hand wax, which I really wasn't expecting, as although most quick detailers should amplify gloss, I don't necessarily expect them to create so much on their own. But having said that, I don't feel as a whole that its application was overly quick and easy as a quick detailer should be, and at least for me, it was actually more work than applying the hand wax. Now, if this product was labelled as a detail spray or a spray wax, I would be accepting that it should be a touch more work to apply. But as a quick detailer, I felt it should have been a little easier, more forgiving and quicker to apply. But that's just my opinion based on what I'm looking for in a quick detailer, which may be different to yours. I'll end this video by saying that it takes a lot of time and diverse testing to truly evaluate any detailing product, as there's always a lot of variables that can alter the experience and results you have with them. But as a first overall impression, I actually really liked and enjoyed using these products, and was also pleasantly surprised at the end result on my little Honda Civic that looked about as good as it ever has. As always, I really hope you guys enjoyed and found this video useful. Please share this video, like, comment and subscribe to this channel to show your support for this content, and I'll see you guys soon.
Cover yourself with a blanket, silent breathing. There are demons in your room. Don't be scared, there's no reason for the tears you shed.
say goodbye.